Right guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be going to the hotel gym again, but I'm going to be smashing some triceps. So plan of action is just hit 400 subscribers. So that'll probably give you guys an idea of how behind I am with the videos. Not too far, but obviously still a little bit in the past, because hopefully by the time you're watching this, we might have even smashed past 500. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, having a little celebration drink. So they've got a happy hour, but it's actually happy 2 hours because it's 5 till 7 p.m. What a beautiful scenery. This just can't go over it. It's crazy. Fucking absolutely insane. Literally like you've just spawned in a crazy seed on Minecraft. I actually miss in Minecraft, to be fair. I can't wait to get a Switch back in Chiang Mai. I'm just going to bang out some of that. But anyway, getting off topic. So yeah, having a celebration drink because the bar is next to the gym. So the vlog from yesterday where there was that fire show, that's where the bar is, and they look like they do a really nice margarita, which is my favorite drink. Pretty much the only drink that I'd actually have. Maybe that or red wine with a meal. But anyway, I'm gonna go there. So time's currently 3:30. It's literally like a less than a 5-minute walk to the actual gym. So plan is go there. This is why I'm really glad that I'm not actually forcing myself to do a full arm session or like a full perhaps leg day. I'm not going to be doing legs here because they literally don't have anything that I can do, but just using that as an example, I can just do less volume per day. And at this point in the diet, that is just ideal for me because it means that I'm not having to drag myself through the sessions. I'm still working really hard. I'm still training like pretty much 7 days a week, having a rest day probably once every 2 weeks. And it's just working really well for me at this point in time. So yeah, that's what I'm going for at the moment. And so that's what I'm going for at the moment, meaning that today I'll probably only be in the gym for about maybe 45 minutes doing triceps. Could be a little bit longer, but yeah, they have got 2 cables, they've got dumbbells, which obviously, well, not obviously, but I won't do anything for triceps with that. I'm not a fan of kickbacks or like, you know, extensions or anything like that, overhead stuff, but just gonna absolutely rinse the cables. So I did start off with overhead last session, so I might see if they've got some sort of a seat and I can do that again because that gave me some crazy DOMs. So yeah, that, loads of push downs, some single arm. I probably about 45 minutes in the gym, wrap things up about 4:15, get back to my latest 4:30, go to 7-Eleven, get some protein shakes, some food and some other bits I need, and then hopefully get there for about 5:30. I'll probably only have a couple drinks. Yeah, nice reason to go there and enjoy it. So let's go for the first set of triceps, which I have no idea what it's going to be. Right people, so straight into another workout here. We've got triceps at the hotel gym. So this workout a little bit different than the one I did yesterday. Obviously completely different body part. We're going for triceps in this one, but also this was like a daytime workout. So I mean, it is varied for me. I don't always stick to morning or evening. I'd say when I'm bulking, I definitely prefer evening workouts. And like when I am solely prioritizing the gym, that is more efficient for me. But obviously when you're doing stuff throughout the day and you've got different plans, etc., like I said here, I wanted to get the workout done. So that's also a huge tip, is if you are going to be like consuming any alcohol or anything like that, then I would say definitely don't try and do a session like the day after. It's not ideal either way because obviously alcohol is going to affect your recovery. I only had a couple drinks, so this isn't really a great example of that. But for those of you guys that are at uni or at college or whatever, then yeah, I'd definitely say like try and use the sessions that are least important and put them around the drinking, if that makes sense. So yeah, starting off here with some kind of easy bar. This is a really long bar. It's pretty much for lat pull downs, but I just moved it over to here and it's working pretty well. So for this day, I'm pretty much going for a variety of movements all on the cables. So personally, I don't like skull crushers or anything like that with dumbbells. So even with an easy bar, you wouldn't catch me doing that. I much prefer just doing overhead with a rope or using a machine, which is pretty rare. Obviously, you're not going to find that in a hotel gym. But yeah, just using that as an example, those are the movements I prefer to use. So to be fair, it kind of suits me just to stick on cables. And as I've said many times in the past, a lot of my arm sessions will just be home workouts or hotel gym workouts, etc., where I just get in a rhythm of progressive movements on cables. And I find that that works really well for me. And it's just a nice way of getting in high volume training, which, as I said in the previous video, if you haven't watched that, that was yesterday's bicep day. I find huge benefit in volume when it comes to arm training and also frequency. So I wouldn't focus too much on the reps or the weight, but just train them more in one session and then train more sessions per week. So if you focus on that, I believe you'll see some great results. So for me as well, I will often train arms like 2-3 times a week when I really want to focus and grow them, which I know that might sound crazy to some people, but it is just literally a fact of, for me, once you start training them more, they can then recover very quickly. And I don't find that you get many injuries with them because you're not doing as many compound lifts. So it's quite a low fatigue to a high reward ratio, I would say, in my opinion and my previous experience. So definitely give that a go. And obviously when it comes to recovery, guys, like the more that you can prioritize your recovery, the quicker you're going to be able to train that muscle group. And then, you know, the more times you're going to get that frequency in, the more opportunity to break down the muscle and then actually grow and get bigger in a shorter period of time. So recovery methods, obviously they can vary. The first one being sleep, that's the most important, and just overall kind of rest. So when you aren't training, you do want to be pretty much resting. Obviously, you know, you've got a job to do if you're doing a physical job, or if you've got cardio to do, and obviously you play other sports, etc., that's fine. But if you can actually just rest specifically as well after the session, that is going to be the most important time. So hydration as well is really important. You're not going to be able to recover as well without adequate hydration. Supplements, I wouldn't focus too much on those. I think magnesium glycinate or biglycinate can be good for reducing fatigue, but if we're talking about actually maximizing recovery, you could use some Epsom salts, have a kind of muscle soak. Sauna is also good. Steam room, you can obviously get massage. You can do foam rolling. You can use a massage gun. You can do stretching. You know, even to look at saunas, you've got infrared saunas, you've got standard ones. There's many different methods, and obviously I'm not the type of person to say you should optimize every single one, but of those that I've listed, you guys might pick a couple and say, actually, yeah, maybe I could improve that a little bit, or actually, yeah, if there is a certain lift or a certain muscle group that I want to improve, maybe I should just focus on the recovery more, you know, the day after that. So that's something else as well, which I would recommend. Is it's good to have a training routine if that works for you, but also if your schedule does kind of move around a little bit, then sometimes having the freedom to also move your workouts can help. So maybe trying to do a workout on a day where you know you're going to be able to rest the day after, put the huge session on that day before, so legs or bench press, and that way, you know, you're going to be rested. You could look at it a different way in terms of having a rest day before as well. So that can be really effective. The best method I would say for you guys is to try both. So one of them is going to give you kind of more energy and less tiredness and fatigue before the session, which now I'm actually talking about it, I think that would probably be optimal. But then again, like I said, if you do struggle to recover, then sometimes putting a rest day after a crazy session can be beneficial as well. So yeah, my advice after, you know, talking through all of that would be to probably put the session that you are most focused on after a rest day. So that way you're super fresh, the joints are feeling good, your central nervous system's had a bit of a rest. And by central nervous system, I just mean pretty much, you know, your mental state, your brain, in terms of actually executing the movement. So you might not feel that you're getting super stressed or that you're getting very taxed mentally through the sessions, but when you do sometimes have a rest day or have a week of not just doing heavy compounds and doing a few more accessories, or the other way around, basically just kind of switching it up a little bit and having less pressure through the sessions, that can sometimes just give you a bit of a break. And then when you come back to it, you feel really refreshed. So I'm definitely not someone that kind of really emphasizes deloads, and I wouldn't set a specific number on how many weeks or months you can do a program before you need to deload. And obviously it's hugely dependent on, well, not just the person, I know that from experience with clients, but also the individual themselves. What environment are they in? Because for someone that, as I said previously, works a job that's laboring, you know, 8-10 hours a day, etc., versus someone that is at a desk, they are going to have different levels of outputs and different levels of, well, needs and just overall variables that affect them. So really important to not just treat everyone exactly the same. Some people may need more rest days. Some people may not need more rest days, but they just may prefer that.
And if that in turn makes them enjoy the gym more and they're still hitting their goals without burning out, then if you look at the big picture and the chance that they're going to sustain that program or sustain that lifestyle for a longer period of time, and if not for the inevitable future, then that can sometimes be a better trade-off, if that makes sense. So yeah, sometimes, you know, losing the battle to win the war, that can be really effective. And I do really think that that phrase is important to remind yourselves of. So yeah, looking at the physique update here, not much is going to change from yesterday, of course. This would have definitely been fasted. I haven't listened to the voiceover just now, but I'm 99% sure I was completely fasted here, because obviously I was saving some calories for the evening. I may have had a meal after this, I think, because I went to 7-Eleven on the moped. But yeah, you can see here like the V line, that kind of the V taper and the obliques is becoming more noticeable, which is a nice change. And, you know, doing the triceps, that's going to be the most pumped muscle group. So hitting a few side triceps here. But then again, the shoulders and the chest, just having that stability. And because it is a pressing movement, or should I say kind of a pushing movement, then that is going to have some secondary engagement and a bit of a residual pump. So just hitting a few other physique updates here. You've got the lat spread, things like that, just kind of showing the leanness. And it's sometimes easier to do when you haven't got a back pump, because you feel a bit more relaxed, or at least I do. So yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll jump you into the rest of the video now.
Right guys, so all wrapped up with that session there. I didn't actually do a mic'd up session, but obviously did the voiceover, which you would have heard. So I thought that was a monkey, but it was a dog. Yeah, so that was a really, really good session, to be honest. Absolutely flowed well. Nothing in there that I kind of got stuck with or wasted time with, which was nice. You know, not on a really, really kind of crazy time crunch, but obviously usually I've got pretty much as much time as I need to get to the gym, because I'll make it a priority, which I still have prioritized today. Obviously, I'm not just sacking it off. I've hydrated well, and I've given myself a good plan at the moment, which is alternating days with individual muscle groups rather than pairing them together. So, you know, if I'd have tried to do arms, then that would have taken me so much more time. But yeah, all wrapped up there. And cardio today, I'll be honest, I didn't actually do cardio, but what I did was just swam a bit in the pool. So definitely not going to be anywhere near as much as usual, but walking to the gym, swimming in the pool is better than absolutely nothing, you know. So yeah, this morning I was 210 pounds exactly, which I'm really happy with, because yesterday I basically switched out one of my meals for just pure protein shakes to kind of double the protein content for that meal. Obviously, because protein shakes take up a lot less calories than a typical chicken and rice meal. And then I had like an extra shake as well. So yeah, doing that just allowed me to get a bit of extra protein in. And then the meal that I chose as well was a lot lower calorie. So all in all, basically managed to maintain a low weight, but top up my protein content from the day before, which is absolutely ideal. So yeah, anyway, people, I'll leave it there. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, the only way is up.